For Easter, I had recorded a video speaking about a mystic interpretation of some elements of the life of Jesus, and I've decided not to upload it at all. I've got it there, I just won't upload it. The reason I won't is I thought I would just simplify this and remind everybody about the simplicity. We're getting so caught up in beliefs and ideas and theologies and practices that we are forgetting the simple truth, the same simple truth that Jesus lived for, the same simple truth that many of us have found, and we know where there is a well, a spring coming forward of this truth. If you look around at human beings, you can categorize them quite easily, as long as you don't get caught up in the details. Humans make decisions based on love and fear. There's one category that I know, I watch it, it's evident in the lives of everybody around me. And beyond there, you can categorize persons into humans who are suffering and humans who are not. And suffering can come in many forms. I've been a little bit quiet this week because I've been unwell. I'm still not feeling great as I make this. So we can have that type of suffering. A suffering that is outside sometimes of the realm of our control. But as my body suffers, I have the opportunity, the option as a human being to enter the presence of God. And when I enter that presence, the suffering doesn't need to amplify in my experience by entering my mind. So there are those of us who are suffering physically, those who don't have survival needs and are suffering right now, can't eat, have nowhere to sleep, creates their own type of suffering. Beyond there are those with survival needs who suffer because the mind is bullying them. The mind is condemning them. The mind is creating anxiety, depression, the narrative, the thought. And it doesn't matter what your suffering is difficult and it hurts. It's irrelevant whether it's coming from your survival needs or coming from your own mind, it still hurts. And beyond there, you can say the flip side of that category are humans who are in the presence of God and can feel the joy and the fulfillment and the contentment and the wholeness of presence in their life. For when you have God's presence, you become present with every moment that you live in. Because of course, God's presence is the awakening of the nowness. It's the awakening of you being present with all your activities. And when a human being is present with all of their activities, they don't make themselves sick. When you are present with your food, you don't overeat it because you are present with it and you sense when you are full. When you are watching a television and eating, you go beyond there because you're not present. And so you have suffering and not suffering, love and fear. And the reality is that the simplicity of the message of Jesus and others was love. And if you just look simply, those who have no survival needs, they are reliant on the love and compassion and empathy of other human beings reaching down to help them out, unless they can work their own way through it. Love is the answer. For those who suffer because of the mind is separating them. The noise of the mind, the illusion of a person and all of its worries and its concerns and its desires and its addictions and its memories and wounds and traumas that it hasn't let go of. It filling the mind, filling the brain, is separating them from a spring, a well of unconditioned love. For when the mind goes still and the brain becomes empty and the brain cells are free, you fall into that stillness. Be still and know that I am God. And the arising of presence, and with that presence, the arising of comfort and unconditioned love comes. For those who are tormented by their own sufferings of their mind, love is their answer. And that love can be brought by others, but more importantly, it should come from within, by escaping and liberating from that. And if you are in any part of that group, I wish you nothing but healing and liberation, and I hope you find some words here that help you with that. Now, if you're in the other side and you are full of joy and the presence of life, then you should stay rooted there and make yourself a well that brings that, pours that out into this dimension of the world. Because too many in this dimension of the world, they are not pouring it out. Rather, they are not satiated by life, so they are grabbing and searching. And that grabbing and that searching is creating more suffering. And so if you are in a state of joy, stay rooted in that presence and keep bringing it forward like a spring, so you can share it with others. If you are one of the blessed ones who have found that presence, you may feel eventually, when your spring, your well is overflowing so much, an automatic compulsion to start trying to help those who are suffering due to the mind, and those who are suffering due to a lack of survival needs. Perhaps those who are suffering through sickness. To bring them comfort, to bring that spirit, that well of joy and peace and happiness into their lives. You may feel compelled to share that. And having lived on both sides, on both spectrums, having suffered and having lived in presence, and having had a chronic illness whilst living in presence, I guarantee that only presence will do to navigate these things in life. Only the presence of God will help us to have the strength to pull through this. And so the message I have is not a complex one. Jesus lived for love. Let's not get lost in theology. He lived for love. How can you bring that forward into the world today? In my experience, so long as we live from the personage, from the mind, we don't have it, because the mind has conditions. I love this person based on my relationship. I love this person. I don't love this person because they hurt me, and I have a condition of not forgiving them. If you live without that, it just pours forward, and you're happy for it to touch whoever enters the radius of its reach, the diameter of its reach, shall we say. I really believe that it's all pointless unless we can find the presence. And I believe that's what everybody is searching and seeking in all religious formats, is to have the presence of God. But for the presence of God to be present in a person, the vessel must be empty. Nothing else can be present. The human cannot have a person present within it for that presence to truly radiate from within and to bring that love to the world around them. And so I believe that the presence of the nowness, of knowing God internally from that, the presence of God is in you. God is not separate, and so long as you are living with the idea that God is separate, in my experience it means that you are living separated from God as a separate identity. You are living as the person. You have not gone through that beautiful gift of being born again, as Jesus so promised and offered. And so this Easter, practice the presence, find the presence, and emanate the love that the world needs from there. Because nothing else will do. Nothing else will do in the walk with God, and all else is an overcomplication of it. All else all else is a distraction. We must find that transformation. We must. It's of vast importance. And it can't be found. No matter how much you love God, unless you can be in the presence of God. Because in the presence you are empty, and when you are empty, God takes his opportunity to fill with love, because you become united and one again, where you are supposed to be, and you feel whole, complete, and the joy of the oil of gladness rises forward inside you. Simple message this Easter. Share love, find love for yourself and for those around you. And if you can't find it, guarantee the one who is looking for it is the one who is getting in the way. And if that touches something and you say, you're right, that makes sense. Now what do I do? There's the one looking for it again. The presence of God to be within you requires nothing else to be present. That includes the voice searching for it. Be well, be loved. God bless, guys. This week, the Children's Village that this channel and all of you wonderful people who support us is largely responsible for building and helping us to provide a home for those children, met a little boy called Joshua. Joshua was found in a bush by an elderly man who was walking by, and as he went to find the source of this crying, he found a cerebral palsy boy with a letter strapped to his chest from his mum. The letter ultimately said, "I can't cope, and I hope he finds a better life with whoever finds him." It's tragic, but this is why we allow single mums with special needs children to move into Featherstone and find employment, caring for those children like Joshua who have been abandoned. Right now, after the pandemic, our childcare fund has dwindled to nearly zero. When we meet children like this, we use that fund to admit them into our care, to buy beds, to get extra caregivers if needed, clothing, medical care, all the things a child needs. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we haven't been able to have our public events, raffles, bake sales, marathons, all these usual charity fundraisers haven't happened. And we believe this is why the childcare fund has not been so accessible to us, and we believe this is why it's become increasingly difficult for us to find resources to admit children. If you want to get involved with the work we do, at this moment in time, that childcare fund would be one of the best places to start. If you want to help, you can fundraise, or you can reach out to myself and have a discussion if you have any other ideas, or you can visit a dedicated link which is in the description box of this video to find out more. Thank you for all you do to make our family a reality. We really can't do this without you. And as you can see, children like Joshua just need a little bit of love in this world, and our family, our village, is there to provide it. Thanks to the love and support of persons out there who feel compelled to share and make our mission a reality. God bless, guys. Take care. Happy Easter. Bye.